What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to this week's episode of Outside the Arena with Mac and Griff. I'm Griffin Senek, joined by my co-host, Mac Rommel, and today, we're excited to bring to you another episode of Outside the Arena. We're going to switch it up today. We do not have a guest today. We're looking at potentially bringing on another friend or maybe even a fantasy expert next week. We're still working that out. But today, we're just going to be talking some football. We're going to talk some fantasy, though, and that's where we're first going to start. We're going to kind of pick each other's lineups, maybe look into our leagues a little bit as well. And then we will, of course, go for our game-by-game breakdowns per usual. So, Mac, you ready to get the show on the road?
I'm ready. Let's do this thing.
Let's do it. So if you want to share your screen, we can start with yours, Mac.
Yep. So basically for this, let me move this out the way. It's really, we got a $200 budget, and we're going through to select a team. You see one quarterback, two running backs, three receivers, a tight end, a flex, and a defense. And you're really trying to pick the best lineup, the person with the most points. At the end of Sunday, this only includes Sunday's games. For my school, gets $15. So we're going to just run through and really pick these players, make my lineup, and have a good time with it.
Yeah.
So with this, I'm not sure what position you're looking to start off at. I'll go based off what you want.
Let's start at running back, I'd say. Let's get the RBs going. Okay, so we get $200. We have to be mindful of that, and we have, it looks like 9 positions to fill.
Yep.
If we do the math, that's what, roughly, that's like 20 something.
A little about 20.
Yeah. So we're definitely going to want to spend on the running back position. Dalvin and Christian aren't playing, so we won't go there. Obviously, a guy who is catching my eye a little bit off the start is Derrick Henry against the Houston Texans. The Houston Texans have kind of been abysmal on defense. So we could look at Derrick Henry. Definitely could be a solid option there. Why don't we put Derrick Henry in for now? We'll see.
All right.
We'll take Derrick Henry, and then we probably want to go for a lower end RB.
I know there may be someone in mind just because of that Dalvin Cook injury, and this is someone I was kind of looking at. I gotta find him though. Where's Alexander Madison? Or did I pass him? Maybe I gotta search him.
He's right there. Keep going down.
I'm blind. Alexander Madison, where are you? There we go. $14.
That's a great pick. Yeah,
we have to
with Alexander Madison for sure.
We're gonna add him for now. We could always come back for all this, anyways.
So that's a good RB. We got one of the top ones in Derrick Henry. We'll come back to that obviously, but I definitely think Madison will stay. Let's go to wide receiver for now. See what we can do there. Okay, so Devontae's 36. Probably don't want to necessarily go with that. That is a pretty expensive pick.
Galladay is looking expensive, honestly.
The guy who is catching my eye is Adam Thielen, potentially. We do have Madison already, but Thielen is going against a weak Atlanta secondary, so we can maybe keep him in mind for now. Trying to think what are some potential good matchups here. Chase Claypool, obviously coming off a major game, scheduled to be the 2 on that team.
Someone I was thinking, because the Cleveland pass defense, it hasn't been great, and I actually saw this website, and it really had points given up per each position, and they're up there. They're giving up some of the highest points to receivers. So I was looking at a player like Juju Smith-Schuster. I'm not sure how you feel about him, but this week, that's a player I'm kind of having an eye on right now, but I'm not entirely sure what I'm feeling yet.
Yeah, with Juju, he likely will probably get shadowed by a guy like a Denzel Ward, who is a very solid cornerback in this league. So that does worry me a little bit with Juju, but at the same time, I definitely feel like a Steelers receiver could be a solid bet. Obviously, the Browns secondary has kind of been in shambles. We've seen them have their moments, but the Dallas Cowboys did shred them, obviously, when they played. And, I think we can maybe either throw Juju or Chase Claypool in there for now. So which one are you liking, Mac?
Do you think Claypool's going to have another big game like last week?
I don't know. It could go either way for me.
That's the question.
I'm not 100% sure.
You want to come back to this?
Let's come back to that. Let's get some other receivers. Ooh, AJ Brown. We already have Derrick Henry though. I'm gonna go. I like Marquise Brown potentially here against a Philadelphia secondary that has been pretty bad so far. I feel like that could be a solid pick. I mean, Darius Slay might be guarding him, but can Darius Slay keep up with him? We'll really have to see. So we'll put Marquise in there for now. I feel like he could be due for a big game.
Yep.
Ooh, Devontae Parker against the Jets kind of has my eye on it. I mean, the
I was
Jets
looking
have
at
been
that too.
one of the
That
worst
default
teams.
by
So
Fitzpatrick.
yeah, I definitely think we might want to put Devontae Parker in there. That definitely could be a solid cheap pickup there. Um, let's see who else is down here.
Anyone else?
Uh,
Excuse me on
N'Keal Harry could be all
that.
right.
Yeah, he's actually leading the league in red zone targets too.
Oh, interesting. Cam Newton coming back, that could definitely
Yep.
definitely be a solid option. How about do you want to come back to the other wide receivers since we were looking at the Steelers guys, maybe?
Yeah, let's do that.
How much do we have left too? Why don't you show
114, so we're looking good.
114? Okay. Okay, so tight end. I'm not sure where Travis Kelsey is on here.
I think no, he's not. Because they're Monday.
Oh, okay. This is just for Sunday.
Yep.
Okay, good to clarify.
I don't know why I'm liking Mark Andrews, but that is expensive, so I'm not sure how I feel about that right now.
Who are we liking? Tight end's a tough position.
Yeah. I mean, Mike Gesicki could be a good addition, but we have Devontae Parker, so
Devontae Parker. I mean, do we think Robert Tonyan could have another solid game here? I mean, this could be a little risky of a pick, but with Devontae Adams coming back, but I mean, he was looking good. Another guy, Johnny Smith. We do have Derrick Henry. Ooh, this is a tough one. I mean, do we just go out and go for a George Kittle here? Do we get the star, the best at the position?
The only problem or thing that worries me with Kittle is that what's the QB situation? How is what's his face going to play? Garoppolo, if he does play, or is it going to be CJ Beathard? Not really sure on that yet. So that's my only real worry for him, especially last week. I don't believe he had like the biggest game due to that. And it showed that the quarterback play did affect his production. So that's a question mark for me with Kittle, but it is Kittle. So,
ooh, a guy that I just kind of noticed. We could also look at maybe a TJ Hawkinson. I mean, he doesn't get too many targets, but he is going against Jacksonville. So maybe we go a little Hawkinson. We could also come back to this and maybe look at QB, but maybe plug Hawkinson in for now, and we'll see what we think.
So do you want to go to flex or do you want to go to quarterback first and see?
Let's get a QB under our belt and just have that one decided. Ooh, okay.
I'm thinking, I don't know, it's a lot of money. So this what I'm not sure of, but I'm thinking Aaron Rodgers is due for a big game this week. Devontae Adams coming back. He has some potential there for a big name quarterback, but he is
another guy who is catching my name is Matt Ryan down here going against a weak Minnesota secondary. I mean, Julio Jones is going to play, so him and Calvin Ridley could be really in for big games. So Matt Ryan's another name here that I'm also liking as well.
I do like that. I may have to agree with you on that one to put that in. But then I'm thinking of a cheaper name wherever.
Ryan Tannehill, maybe, or who are we thinking? Some Trace McSorley.
Oh, never mind. It is not a cheaper name. I was thinking of Ryan Fitzpatrick. I thought he was gonna be cheaper. Got that. Take that out of there. Forget that. But I am liking Matt Ryan. I think I want to put him in there for now, and then we can come back and see how we feel about this in a bit.
For sure.
All right. So now we have flex, wide receiver, and defense left.
And how much we have? 60 something, right?
66.
Roughly.
But we could always adjust.
What do the defenses cost? Is that like
some are expensive, and then it goes down to $10.
Okay.
And normally I pick a $10 defense each week. I've actually done pretty well with that. I don't know how.
Yeah, I'm not thinking we'd spend too much on the defense here. I feel like
maybe a Jags defense versus Detroit.
We do have Hawkinson, so if we do that, we could also maybe upgrade Hawkinson if we go cheap on defense. So maybe we think of that.
Or we could do Lions versus Jags.
Ooh,
these two are no-nos.
I say we pick one of the Lions or the Jags defense.
Yep. I'm feeling Kenny Galladay is back, but the Jags have Laviska Shenault, DJ Chark, James Robinson, The
The
Lions
Lions
don't.
do have a quality secondary, though. I will say. I mean, they've got
Yeah,
the guy in Jeff. I feel like the Lions defense could be in for a good week. I don't know.
I think we go with them for now because
Let's go with
it's only
them.
a $1 difference, so we could come back to that.
Yeah.
All
And
right.
now we get a lot of money to spend at these two positions. That's very good. And we can also upgrade in other places as well. So
Yeah, upgrade, downgrade. We could spend less money in some areas.
exactly.
I think that'll actually be the $29 for Matt Ryan. Is going to be the most expensive quarterback I've taken thus far. Actually,
Yeah.
yeah,
Interesting. I mean, we could definitely downgrade there too, but we'll
yeah.
see.
All right.
Let's go to. Do you want to fill receiver out? Yeah.
Yeah, yes, sir. So we have $56. So that's about 28 per player. So we could get a high quality receiver here.
Oh, Allen Robinson is kind of
That's what I was thinking.
against Carolina.
That's a good matchup.
I think we go Allen Robinson here, honestly. We might have to.
I think so too. Allen Robinson versus Carolina. Their secondary is what worries me too. I was more of a fan of their front seven compared to their secondary for Carolina.
Yeah.
Allen Robinson may have to be the pick here.
I think that's about the right price, and I don't really, the Steelers guys like we were talking about, they are a little risky because you don't know which one's going to go off. So I feel like Allen Robinson's a safe bet. He's due for a big game too. I mean,
He's the main target there. He's obviously going to get big production this game, a lot of targets, a lot of looks. So he's going to have a big game. I think we could pick him up right there.
and
And now
then
we
we got $29, I believe, for our flex. Correct?
yes. So we do have some good money now.
Yeah.
We could get like Chris Godwin, Kittle, Mandrews,
Jeez.
Kareem Hunt, but nah, he's only against Pittsburgh.
I feel like Kareem Hunt could have a big game. I mean,
Versus Pittsburgh?
I don't know. I think Kareem Hunt is I mean, we saw the Eagles really have a solid game. Miles Sanders had a great game last week against Pittsburgh. So
He only had that one good run though. One good run, the rest were eh.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, who are you like? We could go. I mean, we do have Lions D, but we could go like a James Robinson.
I don't know why. I'm thinking I want a running back just due to the fact that they'll definitely get production. They'll definitely get looks. I'm like, it's not guaranteed with a receiver. They're
That's true.
definitely getting at least 15 carries a game. So I'm kind of leaning towards a running back here. But which one is the main
Could go
question?
for James Conner, maybe. I mean, the Browns have not been incredible at stopping the run.
Yep. Yeah, especially that could be a very good pick actually.
We saw it there. What do we?
Jeez. Okay, so I'm thinking right now it's got to be, I guess, Kareem Hunt, James Robinson, or James Conner.
Yeah.
Which one?
Kareem Hunt.
James Robinson failed me last week.
We do have the Lions D, so I'm not 100%. I mean, we probably want to change the defense if we did get James Robinson.
Yeah. That's a good point.
This is a tough one. Trying to think what else we could maybe do.
Unless we do go receiver, a more expensive one with $29, we get like a Chris Godwin.
Chris Godwin is him and Evans. I feel like are a little risky because you never know which one's gonna have that kind of game.
I do think Mark Andrews is due for a big week versus Philly.
We could plug him in instead of Hawkinson and then take out Mark.
Yeah, and then we can come back and see how much money we have for a flex.
Mm-hmm.
You want to do that?
Sure.
All right, we'll get rid of TJ Hawkinson. We'll plug in Mark Andrews, and we have $21, so we still have a decent amount.
Now, do we want to take out Marquise Brown as well, potentially, now that we have Andrews in there? Or should we leave him in?
That's a good point. That's a very good point. I feel actually, yeah, we should take a look at other players for Marquise Brown just in case. We could always put him back in, but just to see the options around that price and figure things out. Charles Fulgham had the big game last week. Oh, that's poor Corey Davis. COVID. Big red letters, COVID.
Not what you want to see. Go with Will Fuller, maybe.
Will Fuller up here versus Tennessee at Tennessee, actually.
We saw Stephon Diggs kind of light them up, so
We did.
a solid pickup here.
I could. You want to plug him in?
Sure. Let's
All
plug him
right.
in.
We'll put him
Now
there.
we only have what, $20 at the flex?
$20. Yep.
Okay. I mean, we can always downgrade Matt Ryan if you want. You want to see if we're not happy with any of these options, we could look to downgrade him and see what happens there. Or we could go for like get a Tyler Boyd maybe. He's been playing well.
Yep. I was looking at something like Melvin Gordon, but questionable is the thing
Yeah,
that got
he's got his DUI. He's got a bunch of issues, so we probably don't want to pick Melvin here.
This is tough. I am liking Tyler Boyd versus the Colts.
Like if we could trim the QB by like if we trim the QB by one, if we trim someone by $1, we could get like a Robbie Anderson. That'd be
Yeah.
cool.
So he was $29. So let's look at like 28 ish like that. So yeah, Kirk Cousins maybe 28.
Good for Ryan Tannehill. I mean, the Houston D has kind of been an abysmal. We
Yeah.
do have Derrick Henry though. We probably want them to focus on their ground game
Yep.
there.
I agree. Is there a cheap QB?
I'm just not seeing anyone I'm necessarily loving here.
Yeah, same. I agree. The past few weeks there has been someone like depth wise that you get that would be pretty good, but I mean maybe a Tom Brady just because it's gonna be. I think that's gonna be a high scoring game, but can't be too sure. Huh? This is tough.
So we're kind of in a decision where if do we want a Tyler Boyd and a Matt Ryan or like a Tom Brady and like a Robbie Anderson is kind of where we're at.
Now that I'm thinking about the Matt Ryan thing, he sees 17.2 points per game, and also he hasn't been too hot this season thus far. Although he is getting Julio back, I mean that could be a question mark that we have to think of.
I mean, the reason I like Matt is just because of that Minnesota deep. We've seen them kind of get lit up by Aaron Rodgers, so I feel like passing offense could be in for a big day, but at the same time, we could also get a guy like a Brady and then get a better flex. So, got to kind of think about it.
I'm thinking. I made like the Brady move right now.
Okay, let's go Brady then. Let's go Brady.
Got $2 extra. See what we could spend with that. So now we're left with 22, and that should be able to get us a decent upgrade. Then we have the Claypool. We have that Claypool option, and then as you said, the Robbie Anderson.
We could also, I mean, if we really wanted to get with interesting, we could also downgrade Derrick Henry to someone else too.
We could. You want to see all the other options out of there?
Yeah, let's check the other RB options.
Alrighty. So Aaron Jones at 40. Wow.
So wow.
Yeah,
So
there is a big drop
off. Yeah.
There is a big drop off.
So if we went for like a James Conner, then we could have like we could get like a Kareem Hunt and a James Conner.
Oh yeah. You want to do that?
That kind of interests me, yeah.
All right, let's put. So we got James Conner.
Then we have 31. Wow. Oh, we could go a Julio or a Ridley now. Oh boy.
I think this is better, honestly. Oh boy. Okay, flex. Come on there. 31. Oh boy. Oh boy. We got some good options now. Now we're talking.
Yeah. This is oh boy.
Dang. Oh. But there also is that part of me that's like, we only need $4. What if we get like someone $4 less than Allen Robinson, and then we could put in Derrick Henry?
Let's see what options are at receiver then. I mean, I do think Allen Robinson is going to have a huge game.
Yeah.
Looking
at around $23 for this one, but that is kind of a drop off compared to Allen Robinson.
I mean, we could get Jamison Crowder, who has been.
You think he's bound for a big game this week or a decent?
I think he's kind of the only option on that Jets offense, so could do that.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Terry McLaurin scares me just because of the quarterback situation. Not sure
Yeah,
the
I agree. I would say
target share. But then there is Robbie Anderson, who I do like, but he is playing Chicago.
mhm. That
Where,
tight end. I mean, we could always downgrade Andrews, and maybe
yeah,
that's where we save our money.
this is tough. I am
Is
kind
there
of
like a
looking.
good $23 option at tight end?
Yeah, I'm just gonna put Allen Robinson back and look at tight ends. Is it there a drop off here? At 27 to
Yeah,
John Smith at 21, but if that were
you pick
aiming for
Derek. Yeah,
Derrick Henry, then
it's not great. I mean, if we went for Robert Tanyan, we could get. Oh, but we wouldn't want Aaron. I mean, if we went for like someone below 18 here, we could get Aaron Jones
yeah.
or a Derek Henry. I mean, we kind of just decide what we want to do.
Evan Ingram really hasn't had a big role in that offense. I mean, maybe like a Hayden Hurst or Tyler Higbee type player.
Is there, what if we check could we downgrade Fuller maybe? Is there any $16 wide receiver options that could do it?
Let's check that out. Okay, so
We could take a risk on a Brandon Cooks type
we
player.
could.
And then we
Or
get
T. Higgins, number one target for Joe Burrow.
maybe that's what we do. And then we go Andrews and Derrick Henry.
Yeah, I think that because then we have two big players.
And then yeah, I mean, I think that might be the play, honestly. We just kind of get a potential boom candidate here, and then we
Yep.
go for Mark Andrews and a Derrick Henry. I think that is the move.
All right, let's do that. So we got T. Higgins, and
Mark
then
Andrews.
go up Mark Andrews, and then exactly
Exactly.
35 for Derrick Henry.
Derrick. Oh boy, that's a good lineup right
I
there.
like that. We got to do this every week. That's pretty good.
It's a solid lineup right there.
There we go. That's an easy $15. I hope. Okay, so that's saved. Stop sharing, and now go to one of your leagues. I'd say let's get into it.
Yeah, I mean, I will pull up. I'll pull up my leagues, and I mean, we can kind of go through some of the teams also, and stuff like that. So we'll go through. This is the league. I didn't want that to come up. I don't know if you can see that, but this is
Yeah,
that I'm 1-4 currently in this league, so we have struggled. But the team is very different. We acquired Miles Gaskin this week.
like me.
Yeah, I do have Lev Bell, which was a little disappointing, but I did acquire Miles Gaskin, so
Yeah,
that's okay.
yeah. Then it would have been funny if he went to the Dolphins.
Yeah, well, I acquired Gaskin after Lev Bell.
Okay.
I acquired him yesterday in a deal for Devontae Freeman and Jonnu Smith. Jonnu Smith was my backup tight end. Didn't really need him, so I just decided to do the RB upgrade there. I got some solid bench receivers here with Marquise Claypool and Devontae Parker. I mean, my only real question with this is, do you think? I mean, I feel like I gotta go Gaskin, but do I maybe sub out like a David Johnson or something, or do I roll with the lineup I have in right now? What are you thinking?
So I'm looking. So you got Dave. That's Dave. Actually, let me move this out the way so I could see that side. So we have David Johnson versus Tennessee. That's a matchup in one of my leagues. I benched him because of. So
Hmm.
that's what I'm not 100% with. So that's an area where I would look where you can maybe switch out David Johnson out of this lineup, like you said, for maybe someone like that we did in the past one, and we put in Devontae Parker. So maybe we could see something like that if you would want.
I would put in Devontae if I didn't already start
Oh
Gaskin.
yeah,
I'm not sure I want to go for the two on the same team necessarily is my thing. I definitely like the matchup for Devontae though.
yeah,
I mean,
he's
I think Devontae could be in for a huge week.
agreed. I mean, and then you're looking at someone like a Marquise Brown or Chase Claypool. The only thing with Chase Claypool, with me, as I kind of said a little bit earlier, is that is he going to be the one with that big game this week? He had it last week, but is he going to continue with it? Like, I'm not entirely sure. Hopefully, that's a sign for all you guys who did pick up Chase Claypool that he's bound to have some big games. I picked him up in one of my leagues, so I'm hoping he continues this, but right now I'm not 100% sold on what his production will be like this week until I see a little bit more from him.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think I'm really going to be able to give him the start quite yet, just because I'm more confident in guys like a Mike Evans or Cooper Cup.
Yep.
Um, so yeah, I mean, I guess I kind of will. I guess I'll roll with David Johnson for the week.
Hmm.
He has been a little disappointing, but if he
Yeah.
can get in the red zone, I do think he can put up a solid game. I mean, he's getting a few receptions a game. Um, I mean, we'll kind of see. I mean, but what are you thinking of the team? Where do you think, I need to kind of maybe look to improve here? What are you thinking?
So this is kind of similar in one of my leagues. You do have a lot of running backs who are going to have a ton of success, and that's you got Miles Gaskin, Kareem Hunt, David Johnson, a lot of players who do have a lot of success. But an area I would really look at, well, you do have Lev Bell, so that could kind of fix if you are having some struggles with David Johnson. You could kind of,
Mhm.
I think that's the area where you would be like, do I start Lev Bell this week? Do I start David Johnson this week? But we have another week until that decision comes.
Yeah.
But an area I'd probably say is that number two receiver spot. That's kind of where I struggled in my leagues thus far. Is that number two
Mhm.
receiver? Where my number one receiver was Robert Woods. He's been playing great, but then that number two receiver, I didn't have someone who was consistent enough, well, consistently scoring high points enough. Cooper Cup is just in that offense with Robert Woods. Daryl Henderson is starting to get a lot more looks now. So I'm not entirely sure how I feel about him in
I
the
mean,
future.
I'll just interrupt you. I mean, I do like his target volume in these
Yeah.
last few games. I feel like he is getting looks, which is important. But I agree, it's a lot of mouths to feed. People are very, worried. Often say he's pretty inconsistent, which I agree with. But I mean, my team. I mean, I'm just looking at these matchups. I have very good matchups. If I were
Yeah.
to be able to squeeze in the playoffs here, I feel like my team could really do something. So I'm definitely gonna have to win a lot of games. Lamar Jackson, I will say, has been the biggest disappointment. I went on a
Yeah.
gamble. I
Agreed.
took him over Pat Mahomes in this one in the third round, which is just the worst pick ever. He has been pretty terrible. I mean, you look at these stats. The 2 weeks have been what you want from him, and then the rest have been very disappointing. So you
Oh,
got to feel like he'll eventually get it going. You hope the running. I mean, he didn't run last week, which is kind of his whole thing. He only has one
yeah.
rushing touchdown.
That 16 carries versus Houston is really what you want to look for and see from him, but you're not seeing that. That's what you were consistently seeing last year. Over
Yeah.
10 carries a game really is kind of what it seemed to be every week. And he was
Mhm.
ending up getting multiple 100-yard games, just playing outstanding. But this year, it feels like they're not using his legs as much. You saw they only used his legs that one game really at a high level, and in order for him to have success in that Ravens team to have more success and kind of get in the mind of people that they are a Super Bowl contender. They got to run that ball more with Lamar Jackson, and it's going to help you fantasy owners. And then also you Baltimore Ravens fans. Once they start running the ball a little bit more with him, he's going to be much better. But I don't know why you kind of see some stupid things happen like this some seasons with some players where
Mhm.
they're just not being used correctly, not being used 100% as they should be. And this is where they're at.
Yeah, I mean, you look at week one, you're pretty happy, 27.5. And I think part of the issue is they're getting in these blowout games. I mean, they're really, every game they've played in, it's been lopsided. I mean, you look at the Chiefs game, they had 97 passing yards. So they
Yep.
were trying to throw the ball, but it just wasn't working. They weren't doing anything.
And
Uh,
then you would think, okay, they're not throwing the ball, then they must be lining up in the run game. But look, then he's not even running the ball 10 times. 97 yards passing, you would expect him, he has to have 10 plus rushes. He has to.
yeah, it's been a disappointing year for Lamar. Hopefully he can get it going. I mean, you gotta assume he will at some point. It'd be kind of crazy if he didn't, but I'm hoping there that he can turn his thing around. Kareem Hunt has been huge for me acquiring him. Um, as he's been an RB1 these past few weeks and is going to continue to be an RB1 for the foreseeable future. So I'm really excited about that. I'm excited to bring Gaskin aboard the team. I hope he can get it going. You see, he's getting receptions, he's getting looks. His rushes have been okay. So I'm hoping we can see some consistency with Miles Gaskin. But I'll take you quickly through the other teams in the league, and then I'll take you to one of my other leagues real quick just to get your thoughts and on what I should do, because that one is a little more controversial. But we got this team. This is the team I am playing this week. He still has to pick up a tight end and kicker, actually, so he'll get that. But he does have Kamara. This is a 4-1 team. He had Dak go down, but it's a pretty solid team. He's got Joe Mixon, James Conner, Kamara, and then Kenny Galladay, Robert Woods. So that's a pretty solid ball club right there.
That's a really good team. You said you had Dak and then Alvin Kamara.
Yeah,
That team's loaded. And then you have Joe Mixon, James Conner. Oh my gosh, man, he has a lot of players. Mark Ingram too. He
great.
got
Yeah,
he had a lot of roster, and it stinks that Dak is gone because that's really probably something that sealed the deal on a lot of those wins for him.
yeah.
But right now, that's a good team, and I think that's actually gonna be a tough matchup. I think honestly, uh, it may go either way. I'm liking you a little bit more just
I
due to
am too this week. I think if he was at full health and had Kamara
yeah,
in there, and Hunter Henry as well, who's on bye, he'd be
yep.
a little stronger. But like we said, no Dak. And my team's fully healthy. I'm pretty confident that I will have a very solid week. And this Mark Ingram flex play, is a little. I mean, I don't think that's a great. His depth kind of lacks right now, but
Mhm.
we'll see what happens there. But he is 4-1. I mean, we'll see. I think he's a great team. They'll probably be in the playoffs here.
Yep, definitely gonna keep it close.
So we got Nikki Wynn's team now. It looks not amazing, but he does have Nick Chubb as well as Michael Thomas. Um, so overall, I mean, you plug in Chubb there, Michael Thomas at like the flex. It's a very solid team.
Yeah, that is with Mike Thomas, especially. Hope he's not getting turned into like a little bit of an Antonio Brown, but that'll ruin a bit of the season for you at that position. But yeah, that's a good team. Miles Sanders obviously is great. Tom Brady, with all the weapons he does have, is going to put up good numbers. J.D. McKissick is a solid pick as well, but not really sure how I'm feeling him in that Washington team.
Yeah.
That kind of feels to me like they want to win through the passing game rather than the run game. No matter who their quarterback is, they kind of have seemed to really try and win through the pass in the air. AJ Brown obviously is a great player, one of the top rookie receivers at the time. And then Calvin Ridley, of course, has been one of the biggest booms of the year. Just playing insane. And then Mike Gesicki playing the Jets. Really good matchup for him. He's going to have a big week. And Tyler Boyd, who has also been very consistent in an offense where AJ Green has been getting a lot of looks. It's kind of between him and T. Higgins. But that's a really good team. And once you get Michael Thomas back, I'm really excited to see what you're going to do and how the team is going to fare.
Yeah, he's 2-3 right now, so not the best start, but he's getting there. He's getting there. This is probably arguably the best team in the league. Joey's team.
Oh
He
boy.
is stacked.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it's pretty very, very solid ball club.
So Josh Allen, what I have to say about him? MVP candidate, probably one of the top quarterbacks right now. If you want in fantasy, Derrick Henry. I'm surprised he's still sitting at 4-1, not having Derrick Henry for those 2 weeks. That shows the caliber of this team and how good it is. And just quickly peeking at his bench, man, this is a really good team. And then you have James Robinson, I'm assuming, picked up through waivers.
Yep.
He's great. Didn't have the best of weeks last week, but that's insane. DeAndre Hopkins, man. I know that was one of your first picks. And then Robbie Anderson, who is up there in receiving yards, top 5, and then top 5 in targets and catches too. And then Mark Andrews, man, oh man, top 3 tight end right now. And then pairing him with Raheem Mostert in your fantasy lineup. Oh my gosh, you are loaded. And
Also, I mean, he's got one in kicker and defense. I mean, that's pretty solid. Colt Steed definitely has been stacked by this Jets seven bomb.
27.
We've seen more realistic performances recently, so I wouldn't say they're necessarily the best defense. Jason Sanders has been great. He also dropped 22 last week and 18.
Yeah, I think he should do that for me. I'll take him.
So yeah, we'll see what happens there. But overall, a really solid team. This one, right now it doesn't look good, but he does have Christian McCaffrey and Austin Eckler set to return, as well as Lockett on bye. So when you plug those guys in, overall, it's a very solid team.
Yeah, those plugins definitely do change a lot of it. But I'm gonna go with what your team is currently and how I do feel about that, and maybe some things you could do. Kyler Murray, he's gonna have a big game, especially versus Dallas. Their secondary lackluster. Sucks to say as I'm a Cowboys fan, as you guys see. James White.
I think the viewers know that one.
James White is definitely gonna have a decent role in that offense, but for those New England running backs, you're never really sure how they're gonna play each and every week. Sometimes they try and win through the run, sometimes through the pass. It's kind of inconsistent there, especially with Cam Newton now. And now for Devin Singletary, that's a good player there. I think he's a good RB2, especially with your top two running backs out. That's a really good player there. And then DJ Chark, he has been ridiculed with injuries this year. He's back. He's gonna have a big season. Then OBJ really did break out after that Dallas Cowboys game. But then these two positions are kind of definitely showing that you had to use the waivers for the lack of production at those positions. And that's Robert Tanyan and then Travis Fulgham. Travis Fulgham only had that one good game last week, so I'm assuming you picked him up after that. That kind of is a need for me. Like it looks like you were needy there, so you picked him up playing Baltimore. Not sure how I like him there. And then Robert Tanyan, he did have that one big week, but I'm not sure is he going to produce that again. So those are more kind of picks that have potential, but not entirely sure. This is a team that has potential once injuries or once you're not ridiculed with injuries, and you do have who was the receiver again that he had?
He has Lockett on the bench.
Lockett. Yep. When Lockett's back in next week, when you have Eckler and Christian McCaffrey back, this is gonna be a really good team to watch out for. I'm excited for you and what the rest of the season holds.
I definitely think Lockett has been overrated a little by that one Dallas Cowboys performance where he dropped 37. That's definitely padded his stats. And because otherwise you look, he did have very solid game. Atlanta weak secondary, New England respectable game, but last two games he's really not been incredible. So we'll see what happens with Tyler Lockett. Next team will be Team Neidhart, 1-4. This is the team I traded Johnny Smith to. I'm not so sold on this team right now, especially with Clyde Edwards-Helaire in there. What are you thinking about this team, Mac?
Yeah, the Clyde Edwards-Helaire thing, obviously with Le'Veon Bell now going to the Kansas City Chiefs, he hopefully he has his big game of the week before Lev Bell is back. So hopefully they're just trying to get his hopes up. Give him a lot of carries this week versus Buffalo. Have a big game. I hope they do that because I have him in one of my leagues. David Montgomery, really good pickup there, of course, for Chicago. I was actually thinking Lev Bell had a chance to go to Chicago.
I thought that too. I thought so too.
So I really like those two running back spots there. And then Julio Jones has had the injury, so that's obviously a position where you probably struggled thus far this season. But now he's back. Obviously going to have some big games. Hopefully get some more touchdowns. We know that's been his main problem is touchdown production. And then Jamison Crowder kind of spoke on him a little bit before. Only real target there in New York now that Lev Bell's gone. And then you traded him Jonnu Smith, who a lot of people like at Tennessee, but they're still trying to win through the run game. So his production could vary week to week. So I'm not sure how I feel about that. And then Antonio Gibson for Washington. We kind of spoke on that before about their running back group and how they like to play. So Antonio Gibson could be a player that you would have to sub out. But I'm assuming that because Chris Carson does have his bye, that is a player that that would be in the flex position. But overall, that's a really good team. Really, really good team.
Yeah, I think with the Clyde Edwards-Helaire is going to vary, and part of the reason I had to trade Johnny Smith to him is I did want to receive some sort of value for him because he is position ranked 4 right now, and I feel like he's at his peak. I definitely feel like his volume is going to go down. I'm not.
Yep.
I think he's solid, but you look at these and it's like 4 or 5 catches. It's like, I was considering moving Kelsey, but I decided I should just keep Kelsey. He's such a sure thing that I'm better off doing what I did, packaging Johnny Smith and a guy like a Devontae Freeman who, has some upside, but I just don't see him being like a necessary stud for an upgrade who I think Myles Gaskin will give me, especially for this week. Next, we'll go to another solid team, Ben's team, Judge Judy, Maine. He's got Russell Wilson, Josh Jacobs on bye, but overall it's a pretty solid team. I mean, there's really not too many weaknesses here. Tight end is a little bit of one, but otherwise it's pretty overall solid.
Yep, Russell Wilson, of course, MVP in my opinion right now. That's big. And then you have Zeke. Zeke, probably current best running back, just due to the fact, with Christian McCaffrey and Saquon out, best playing running back, I'd say right now. Yeah. But Kenyon Drake, that's a player I had on my team. It took me 5 weeks to trade him, but I was able to trade him. So does he watch these episodes?
I'll tell him. I mean, I think he watches some. I'll tell him to watch that about this game. But.
Yeah, so definitely make sure you go and trade Kenyon Drake. Get him out of there. He's inconsistent. He's not going to do good for you. He's really just hurting your team. You get a player in return who's going to have much better production.
He did this trade it looks like about a month ago, 3 weeks, traded Edelman, Blankenship, Waller, Tyreek, and Kareem Hunt for Godwin, Ertz, Justin Tucker, and Kenyon Drake. So that is a really bad trade looking back on it now. I don't think he wins at any position here. So wow, that's a really bad trade.
I mean, you're trying to get the big names, but like, I mean, Ertz, he was top tight end, but he hasn't been. Godwin, of course, one of the top receivers, but that's really the only player there that was good. You're getting rid of so many players: Tyreek Hill, Darren Waller, Kareem Hunt, all players that would be definite starts in your lineup. Definitely over Waller, over Ertz. Then you have Tyreek Hill, who would definitely be there. Well, instead of Godwin, so you have Allen Robinson and Chris Godwin. Like you really gave up too much value there. And then for Kareem Hunt, you could have had him instead of Kenyon Drake, and his team would be so much better overall. And then Josh Jacob could be in the flex. You would have had the best team in the league if you did make that trade. I'm sorry, but you really messed yourself up and put you in a
There's a
bad.
lot for Josh Jacobs too. I mean, you give up Fuller, Gurley, and Diggs for
Oh,
Josh
another
Jacobs.
trade he had. Okay,
So
I think he lost that trade too.
yeah, I mean, I
He
think
would have had the best team in the league by far if he didn't make any of
I
those
think
trades.
watches this.
He would have been undefeated, bro. He would have been
I
undefeated.
just don't. I think he went for the big names a little too heavy on the big names. I
But
think.
that first trade too does not make any sense to me.
I mean, you look at it at the time. Ertz, I believe, was coming off a very good game. I believe this might have taken place. It could have
14
taken
for
place after the Cincy game.
instead of Darren Waller, man.
I know.
I
I
just
don't
don't
know.
think
I
he
mean,
won.
where was
And
the trade? It was here. It was. I mean, I think the Kenyan just kind of for Kareem. I mean, it just didn't work out for him. But that's what happens in fantasy. You take a risk, it doesn't pay off. He still has an overall solid team, but it's gonna be a
yeah,
good
too bad he
weekend.
took 2 risks, and too bad he lost both of them.
Yeah. All right.
So
Well, we'll go to the next team. A B C D E F G. Team Storken, as they're known as, 3-2. With this team, though, I do have my question marks myself, just off the fact that Mike Davis, once he goes, their RBs are going to be Jonathan Taylor and Ronald Jones. So I'm a little
yeah.
worried there, but what are you thinking here? They do have Waller on bye, so just be aware of that as well.
Yep. So Waller on bye, that's obviously a fill there for Austin Hooper, who hasn't been the most consistent tight
Waller,
end right now.
what's Waller averaging? Sorry, 14 touchdowns.
He's a bit
Waller,
down from last year, but still great.
yeah.
So Waller's in there. That's what I'm considering now. That's a pretty decent looking team. But then Mike Davis right now, he does look great. But say in 1-2 weeks when Chris McCaffrey's back, what are you going to do with him?
Yeah.
And what is the production going to be like for both him and Christian McCaffrey? No matter what, just a little tip, I would say keep him in case he does still get a lot of carries in that offense, and they want to give both backs, Christian McCaffrey and Mike Davis, a ton of carries. He could still be good, but hold on to him until you know that for sure. But overall, this is a good team with Adam Thielen in a really now it's going to be passing offense, especially with Dalvin Cook out. So he's going to have a lot of targets now. Tyreek Hill is obviously going to be great, but problem now you add Lev Bell into that offense, his production may go down a little bit. Jonathan Taylor has been a really good player, and then Juju, of course. I feel like he's been inconsistent. I'm not sure his stats.
He has not been. He had a very bad week last week. He had 6.8.
Yeah,
The targets are just not there right now for me. If he
yeah.
didn't have this touchdown here, I'm not sure where there's. It must have had a 2-point conversion or something. But I mean, Juju. It's a little scary for me for Juju.
Yeah, yeah. But so that's a question mark too. I mean, you do have a lot of potential there. I mean, Chase Edmonds too is a good player, especially. I feel like the Cardinals down the line could end up starting him over Kenyon Drake realistically, with how Kenyon Drake has been playing, and Chase Edmonds has been playing well when he does get the opportunity. So I'm thinking Chase Edmonds could end up taking that starting role. So I do like that. And he could potentially fill that role for Mike Davis if things go downhill.
Yeah.
But definitely got to look at Juju Smith-Schuster and then Mike Davis as well down the line and see if you could do anything there to fix up.
Yeah, Mike Davis, their running backs are going to be a little weak. I play them next week, actually, and they have this is their lineup that they are going to have to run with next week. So it could be a fun one. Could be a nice one for me. I do have Lamar on bye, though, and my flex is going to be a little risky, but we'll figure that out when it comes. Team best will be next. We got two more teams. He has Keenan, Dalvin Cook on his team. So you plug in Dalvin there, really, and Keenan at the flex. I mean, it's a very solid team.
Keenan and Dalvin, man. Yeah, that is a good team, especially then you have Alexander Madison for when Cook is hurt. So really, you're gonna have a high production back, no matter what Dalvin Cook's status is gonna be. We saw when Cook was hurt last year, Alexander Madison did produce and produce at a high level. So that's a really good pick. I like that. And Ryan Fitzpatrick, also a really good player, really good quarterback that's starting now, especially that he's going against the Jets. But the question mark for me is, then it looks like you're going to have to end up starting Daniel Jones once Tua comes in and starts. Who knows how long that's going to be
starting Daniel Jones. He beat me last week with them. I had a rough week last week.
Okay. That's a bit tough. That's a bit tough.
Yeah.
But yeah, once Ryan Fitzpatrick is out and Tua's in, that's going to be a question mark for me. Maybe we could look at a trade or something for a new quarterback. But Todd Gurley is also catching my eye. He's a good player, especially after last week. You saw that they could keep it close and could play a good game if they go through Todd Gurley. And then that's a player who I'm looking at to hopefully have a consistent big weeks and have a much better role and bigger role in that offense because he did do well last week. And then the receivers look great. Devontae Adams, Stephon Diggs, both players who are going to get you a lot of points week in and week out. But then my question mark would actually no, Keenan Allen. I forgot about him. He would be your flex, but that tight end position is a position where I would look to upgrade as well, especially in New York, where his role has kind of been inconsistent, not getting the targets he would like, and not putting up points as he would like as well.
Yeah. No, I agree with that assessment. I think his team is going to be solid. He's got a tough matchup this week against Joey's team. I think is the best in the league, but we'll see what happens there. Last team, the Fresh Prince of Hilaire. Even though he doesn't have Clyde Edwards-Hilaire, he made some moves. He traded Clyde this week for Aaron Jones in a deal, so this deal really looks good for him now. Traded Aaron Jones. He got Aaron Jones, Ty, and DJ for Clyde, Antonio Gibson, and Lockett. So that looks great for him now.
Big.
Getting Aaron Jones. So this is the team he's rolling with. He has DK on the bench as well as potentially Melvin Gordon if he wants to plug him in for Darryl. So what do you think?
Also, he has the two Cowboys receivers. And honestly, down the line in a few weeks with Andy Dalton, you saw with the Cowboys, this is just a little assessment from me, what the connection between Michael Gallup and the Red Rifle, Andy Dalton was. And that started to show some real big signs of potential. So Gallup could be an eventual starter down the line because it looked like Andy Dalton and him had a real big connection. And if in the next few weeks we see a lot more targets going Michael Gallup's way, he could eventually find his way into your starting lineup. But DK Metcalf, Amari Cooper, DJ Moore, you got some really solid players there. I think that's a really good wide receiver core. And then tight end, Hayden Hurst and Kittle. That is great. Running backs, Aaron Jones. You have Darrell Henderson, who I believe is going to start having some big weeks, have a much bigger role in this offense. And then on the bench, I see Melvin Gordon. Of course, we all know what's going on with him, but he's a really good player who is going to be able to find his role in your offense down the line. You see his production pretty good, except for that game versus Tampa Bay. This is a really good team.
One coming back, though. We'll see what happens there. So that is one flag.
And then Patty Mahomes, of course, probably the best fantasy QB.
I had him and I took Lamar.
Look, that 40 points could have been yours.
I would have won last week if I took him.
40 points could have been yours that 1 week, man.
I know.
But honestly, this is a really good team down the line and down the stretch. If you are in the playoffs, this may be a team to look out for, maybe a potential championship winning team. I do think so.
Interesting. Well, that does it for the teams in that league. And, I think we'll stop there. We don't want to make that aspect too long, but we will do our week by week projections. We won't talk on them for too much because I feel like we've already covered the players who we think are going to really have big games. So I will share that screen and we will get going with that. So Thursday night football, obviously, so we don't have much to talk about. I will bring up one thing. And that's obviously the devastating injury to Dak Prescott. I feel like we have to talk about it. We usually cover these games. I don't think there's too much else really there to talk about. So we'll talk about Dak Prescott, obviously suffering a season-ending ankle injury. Mac, obviously you're a huge Cowboys fan. You know this team. They obviously were able to get the W. So there's 2-3 on the season. But, I mean, what is your reaction? And long term, I mean, do you think the Dallas Cowboys are in some serious trouble here?
Actually, people may not agree with me, but that I'll start off by talking about Dak before I get into what the scheme I believe that they're going to run with is and how it'll affect the team. A Dak injury is devastating. He was having a season that was actually probably going to go down in the history books, especially in the aspect of passing yards. I felt like he was on pace to easily break Peyton Manning's passing yard record. He was bound for a historic season in that aspect. He was playing great. Showed a lot of signs of potential on offense. Just those fumbles kind of did cost some of these games and really put the game away early for other teams. But Dak, it really stinks to see that. When I first saw that, I was nervous. Is the career ending? Like, well, is he ever going to be able to bounce back? But his surgery was successful. It's only 4 to 6 months until he should be healthy. But that 4 to 6 months until he is healthy is going to be tough for him. Rehab, trying to get back to that level of play, that really high level of play that he was at. But something kind of interesting that I saw on a YouTube video, and it was about Anquan Bolden, where he suffered an injury similar to this. And he kind of was talking about Dak's injury and said how it's very similar. The rehab is very tough, but it's an injury. If you do get through that rehab, and he says all athletes, really anyone, if they want to be healthy and be back to where they want to be, uh, they have to get through it. And everyone would do it and should do it, but it is tough. Dak is going to do it. He's going to get through it. But Anquan Bolden said this is an injury where it is easy to bounce back and play at an equal, if not higher level than before. I hope that that's the case, especially as a Cowboys fan, and hopefully it'll work on a long-term deal. That's kind of the area where we could maybe even touch on a little bit his contract situation.
Yeah.
How is that going to affect really all things that aspect of it?
I mean, it really depends. I feel like the Joneses, I mean, you did see what he can do. And, he proved, I think, that he is the franchise quarterback, undoubtedly. And I think he will get his money. I mean, I don't know if he's going to get what he was asking for. I know he was asking for an absurd amount. And it was unfortunate that they couldn't come to a deal. I felt like, he potentially probably should have accepted some of the deals put in front of him, but he chose not to. He bet on himself, obviously did not pay off. So I feel like he might get a similar deal to what he was being offered. I don't think he's really going to get more money. I just don't think that's really possible. It's too much of a risk. He might actually get less, probably more likely than getting more. But we'll see what happens there. I definitely think the Cowboys will still look to lock him up long term, assuming his rehab goes according to plan.
Yep, I agree. He's definitely going to get a long-term deal. Joneses, they're all saying the right thing. Are they going to make it the right thing happen, which hasn't happened the past few years, as we all know. But he is still going to be a high-paid quarterback. It may not be that 40 million, but it's definitely going to be around 35, I'd say, because if Dallas doesn't pay him a high amount, one team is definitely going to pay him a high amount. In order to keep him, you're going to have to pay him that. And I think the Cowboys will definitely do and be able to do that. But now, I guess quickly before we move on to the predictions for this week, I'll talk about what my long-term deal is, like my thoughts about the Cowboys long-term. And actually, this season, I think that the Cowboys may be better with Andy Dalton than with Dak Prescott, and that's due to this. The scheme change is really going to do everything because of this. Now they're going to have to become a run-first team, which they haven't been this year, and that has been their route the past few years. That's led them to success in the years that they made the playoffs. Running the ball means you're controlling the time possession, you're controlling the clock, you're leaving the defense off the field more, and that's where the main thing is coming in. By doing that, the defense off the field more. They're not on the field a lot. We know they're already susceptible, but being off the field for just a few more minutes could be the difference between a touchdown and a field goal, or a field goal and no points. And that could really help the Cowboys not give up that about 30 points per game that they've been allowing this season. And that's really going to help them by controlling that time possession and running the ball. But that is if they do decide to run the ball first. And I'm not sure with all the things I've seen this season, and especially with Andy Dalton doing well at the end of that game, I won't be surprised if they keep trying to pass the ball. But if they do run the ball more and get back to the roots, I think the Cowboys are going to be a better team than they were with Dak.
I think that's a really interesting point. I mean, you know more than me about the Dallas Cowboys, definitely. So I think there was a little audio issue there, but I think it's good now.
Right.
Yeah, like I said, you know more, and I agree with you. I feel like this could be a good thing for them. They're gonna is the audio doing? Give me a sec. I'm gonna mute myself real quick. Sorry.
All right.
All right. Hopefully that fixed it. But I think it's gonna be interesting. Obviously, I can't necessarily say they're gonna be a better team without Dak. Um, but their scheme is likely to change. They don't have Dak anymore, but good for Andy Dalton. Honestly, I feel like this could be a good chance for him to prove that he's still a presence in this league. He still could be a threat, and maybe a team looks to bring him in as potential, a team that's tanking or something could give him a starting role or something like that. Who knows what will happen with Andy Dalton, but we'll see what he can do. He's a proven starter in the NFL in the past, so we'll see what happens there. But it should be interesting to see. And that division is still so terrible that I think the Dallas Cowboys still can manage to pull it out, although I think they will get shelled in the playoffs by any team just because of that defense.
Yep. Totally agree with you there.
So let's go to our game-by-game predictions. 2 Monday night games again. They've done that a few times. 5 p.m. start. That's really nice. I mean, that's kind of really early, but that's awesome.
And you got football almost right away.
I know. That's kind of crazy. But tomorrow, it looks like there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 1 o'clock games with only two 4 o'clock games. So that's a little disappointing. My Jets do play then, though, and a great game in Packers Bucks. But we'll start. We won't go too in depth on all of these because we've already kind of talked about all these. The Texans and Titans. I'll start this one off. I'm going to take the Tennessee Titans. They've been playing really good football. They showed up on Tuesday night and they looked great. People were kind of doubting them and they came back from COVID. They've got all these issues and they blew out the Buffalo Bills. I know their defense was injured a lot, but still, nonetheless, the Titans look great on both sides of the football, so I can't really bet against them here, so I'm taking Tennessee.
Yeah, I'm taking Tennessee as well. You really hit the points I was talking about. They did play the Bills, who did have a defense that was really injured, but they did pull together, play at a high level. It really showed that they are well coached and a well put together team, and that's exactly what you want to see from a team, and that's shows signs that they do have a chance to win a Super Bowl, if not this year, very soon. And that's what I really like to see. The coaching it's phenomenal, especially after handling all that COVID stuff and able to do that and play at that high level, although it was against a team that was injured. I got to go Titans. Texans are not there yet, and they're not going to be there for a few years now.
Yeah, the Texans really have stepped themselves back. Obviously, no longer Bill O'Brien there, but we'll see what happens there. Ravens, Eagles. I can't bet against the Ravens here. I just don't love what I'm seeing from the Eagles. They did play solid against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'll give them that. But, I mean, the Ravens, you feel like Lamar's due for a big game. He's really struggled. So against this defense as well, I mean, I feel like Lamar could be in for a huge game. So I'm going to take the Ravens here.
Yeah, I agree. Ravens are going to get a big win here. I can't really give any wins to the Eagles right now, especially with that injured wide receiver core. Once some of those players start coming back, then I could start giving them some more wins. But right now, it's going to be Ravens with I believe they have given up defensively the least amount of points in the NFL. I think that's correct. I think I saw that correctly.
I think you're right.
That they don't give up a lot of points. And I think, especially versus an Eagles team, you could see an Eagles team get shut out this week, and it may not even be close, but Ravens going to get a big win here.
Yeah, I agree with that. Falcons, Vikings. I'll flip this one to you to start, Mac. What are you thinking here?
Falcons, Vikings. I have to give the Vikings the win here. Vikings, they are a good team. Their record doesn't show it, though. They are a good team with Adam Thielen and Justin Jefferson, both playing amazing, and they're going against a team that gives up a lot in the pass. So this is a week where you're going to see big numbers scored from both sides because the Vikings' pass defense is not great. So this can be a shootout. It is going to be close, but the Vikings are going to be able to come out on top and get a big win here.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm going to take the Vikings. And you look at their schedule, I pulled it up. They kind of had a rough first two games of the season, but since then I've loved what I've seen from them. Titans, Vikings. I thought the Vikings were going to pull out a win here. They didn't. It was a close game. They've lost 2 1-point games, which really sucks for them. They could be 3
against high-level teams too.
Yeah, great, respectable teams, 2 undefeated teams. So you see the Vikings, they're playing good football. Defensively, they're obviously giving up a lot of points, which is probably their issue. But offensively, their run game has really carried them into this one. And you saw them barely lose to Seattle Seahawks on Sunday night. So I'm going to give them the win. I just don't think the Falcons. Dan Quinn is out, so we'll see what happens with that. But I'm going to take the Vikings. Browns, Steelers. I'm going to take the Cleveland Browns. I'm hopping on the bandwagon here. I am loving what I am seeing from this Browns team. They beat solid teams. I mean, we can look at their schedule. They've lost to the Ravens, But I'm excusing this performance just off the fact that this is week one with Kevin Stefanski. They're still figuring out the offense. Thursday night, they come out with a bang against the Bengals. Then they beat the Redskins. They destroyed your Dallas Cowboys. A Colts team who's 3-2 has played solid. They went out and they had a really nice showing. So I'm going to take the Cleveland Browns here. I know it's a bit of a risky pick. I think the Browns are well on their way to the playoffs. I mean, you look at their
Yeah,
schedule. The
easily.
Bengals, tough game here with the Raiders. I like them. Texans, I probably like them against the Eagles. Jags, tough game here, and then 2 easy games with a tough game. So I'm really giving them at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wins after this week. They've already got 4 with the expanded playoffs. That's about 9. So the Browns are a playoff team in my eyes. They've come out, really played well. And I think their offense is going to be the key here. That defense, the Steelers' offense is their weak spot of that team. It's not the best thing in the world. We've seen them have really solid games, but we'll see what happens this week. If they don't get 4 touchdowns from Chase Claypool, I mean, they might not be insane offensively. So I'm going to give the Cleveland Browns this one here.
Yeah, you saw the Cleveland Browns. They haven't been playing great, 4-1, and they're in a division, one of the top divisions in the NFL, and you're gonna see three teams from this division make the playoffs. You can count on that. They're 3 of the top teams in the league right now, but I'm gonna have to give the Steelers a win here due to the fact that the Browns, they have been playing great, but they really haven't had a true test yet. And that first true test, they're going to Pittsburgh. That's kind of my key for this game also. But I do think when the Steelers visit the Browns will get this win. But this week, this is the first true test for the Browns. So I just want to give the Steelers a win here. And we could see the Browns using this loss as a boost for the rest of their season so they know how to play.
That's very true. I don't know if fans are going to be allowed. Probably not. I think the cases are up in Pennsylvania, so I'm not assuming fans there, which could, play definitely a factor here. Definitely hard when the Steelers fans are there, but I'm going to give the Browns this one. You're going to take the Steelers. So our first disagreement of the day.
Yeah.
Bengals, Colts. This one's tough. I'm not sold on this Colts team. I've not been sold on Phillip Rivers. He's not been playing good. He just does not look very good. But I'm going to still take the Colts here. Their defense has been playing solid. A Bengals team that has not looked very great on, either side of the ball recently. Joe Burrow has shown his struggles. They're 1-3-1, kind of a weird one, but they got blown out. Very lackluster performance. They did get a Jags W here. They tied the Eagles. They played good football, but after that last performance last week, another tough defense this week. I'm going to give the Colts this one.
Yep, I'm going to agree with you on that. But the Bengals, I do think are going to keep it close with T. Higgins. We took him that one.
Our guy T. Higgins, yeah,
that's our guy. I think he's going to have a big.
One.
Him, Tyler Boyd are going to have a big week. Joe Mixon too. But this will be a close game. I think it may even be low scoring. But the Colts are going to come out on top with one of the top offensive lines. Jonathan Taylor has been playing well, and a defense that has been playing fairly well as well.
Definitely. Lions, Jags. This is kind of a bowl of 2 of the worst teams in the league. The Detroit Lions team coming off a close game with the Saints and a win against the Cardinals. So we'll see what happens with that one. They're 1-3. I'm not sure how they've only played 4 games, and the Jags have played. What did I miss? Oh, the Lions had their bye last week? Okay.
Yeah.
My bad. So Lions are coming off a bye. I'm going to give the Jaguars this W, though. I like what I'm seeing from Jacksonville. Honestly, they did have a rough game last week, rough game the week before. Since week 2, they haven't played great, which is why they're due for a win. I just feel like James Robinson, DJ Chark is probably going to play. I feel like they'll be able to string together some weird pieces. Not too much reasoning here. I just kind of feel like the Jaguars will get this one. I think they'll just pull it out.
Yep, agreed with you there. Jags didn't get a win here. They have been playing well. They do keep things kind of close, and they are a team where a lot of people think, well, they are going to end up with a bad record this season, but they're a team that does have a lot of potential. They are keeping these games close, but they're just not at that point yet where they're going to win a lot of these games. But these are the games where they do have to win to show that they aren't among the worst of the worst and that they're trying to separate themselves. And they're going to do just that. They're going to get a win here versus a Lions team that has been lackluster. Matt Stafford hasn't really looked himself. And this could be another one for the Jaguars.
I think it's going to be a good game. Well, not a great game, but it'll be close.
Oh, yeah. Close. And we have to hope it's low scoring too because we have Lions defense.
That's true. So I guess maybe we cheer for the Lions then. Maybe we go for the Lions, but who knows? Bears, Panthers. I'm going to take the Panthers here. Undefeated since Mike Davis has come, and they've played some solid teams, not the Falcons. They suck. The Cardinals, kind of kind of overrated after the week one. Beat the Chargers on the road. Tough loss to the Bucks and a really good Raiders team they played well with. So Panthers have kind of been a surprise team this year. They played really well at home. I like what they're doing, so I'm gonna stick with them. Although the Bears have been playing pretty well, they had a great Thursday night win last week on my birthday, actually, against the Buccaneers.
Mm-hmm.
They lost to the Colts. They played solid teams, but um, I just feel like I'm not 100% sold still on the Bears, so I'll take the Panthers here.
Yeah, so this one for me is kind of still up in the air of who I want. I mean, of course, the Bears sitting at 4-1, they've played great, but the Panthers have also played great. And we both know I was high on the Panthers coming into the season, but now they're missing K1 short. That is a big loss for them on that defensive line, which kind of was the strength of their defense. Teddy Bridgewater has been playing great. Um, we do have Allen Robinson on the Bears. They are at actually, you know what? Just due to the fact that they're the home team, I'm going to give the Panthers the win here. Although we do have Allen Robinson, so hopefully he does have a
Yeah, he'll have
big
a big game.
game. But the Panthers, DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, Mike Davis, as you said, undefeated since he's been the starter. They're gonna have a big week this week. It's gonna be a close game though. However,
For sure, for sure. Washington and the Giants. Ugh. This is a hard one.
battle for the first pick.
Battle for the first pick potentially. I mean, I feel like the Jets won't win a game. So if the Redskin or the if the Giants win, I feel like they're out of contention for the first.
Yeah, wait. What if the Jets and Giants both go 0-16?
I don't know what happened then. I mean, that'd be pretty impressive. I think they do the Jets.
Pretty
That'd
impressive.
be sick if they played like week 17 or something.
Battle for the first pick.
I'm gonna take the Giants here. I'm not really sold on this football team right now. With Kyle Allen or Alex Smith, whoever. By the way, we forgot to mention congratulations to Alex Smith.
Oh yeah.
Fantastic comeback. I think he should be comeback player of the year, just solely off the fact that he is back after that injury. Almost had his leg amputated. So big congrats.
Almost lost his life in general too.
Really crazy story. So congratulations to Alex Smith. We really hope to see more out of you. He was once such a good quarterback, and it's so sad to see that injury, but so good to see him back on the football field. But I'm just going to take the Giants. I thought they put up a pretty impressive showing last week against the Dallas Cowboys. Their defense did hurt them in the end, but I feel like against the football team with a weaker offense compared to the Dallas Cowboys, they're going to be able to get a solid defensive performance from guys like the James Bradberrys and the Blake Martinez on that team. So I'm going to give the Giants their first win of the season.
I'm gonna. This is tough. I was about to say I agree with you, but then I just had a second thought. Oof. I mean, this is a tough one. They kept it close with my Cowboys, but I'm gonna give the football team their second win. I'm gonna give the football team a win here. Although I said I wasn't sure how I felt about them with the quarterback situation, how things are gonna pan out, how they're gonna play, how they're gonna look. Especially last week, they didn't look too great, having all the quarterbacks really just being tossed right in there, trying to build a connection. But you're going against a Giants team that is not that great. They did keep it close last week versus Dallas. That's just probably because their defense sucks. The Washington defense, I believe, is better than Dallas, especially with that front seven, Chase Young. You have studs there on the defensive side of the ball, and I think that's really what's going to seal the deal and allow the football team to get a big win here.
Fair points. Fair point. Broncos, Pats. I'm going to give the Patriots this win. Cam Newton is back. And they played pretty well against the Chiefs team that without Cam Newton. I don't know if Stephon Gilmore is back.
I don't think so.
You think or no?
I don't think so, but I could look while we talk and all.
Yeah, I'm not thinking he'll be back, but I don't know how much that will be too much of a factor. I mean, their defense is solid. They've got guys that can replace them. They got a great secondary.
Oh, I think he is going to play. It says Stephon Gilmore at practice for New England. He comes off reserve COVID-19 list.
These guys are recovering from
He
COVID.
just got back.
I mean, that's kind of crazy. I mean, good for them.
How do you heal that fast? How do you recover that fast?
I know, but I'm going to give the Pats easily then the W. I know Drew Lock might be playing, but it doesn't really matter too much to me. No Cortland Sutton, no Von Miller's not even playing this season, so that doesn't even factor. So yeah, I'm going to give the Pats this win, and Melvin's out too. So.
Yep. I'm going to give the Patriots their third one of the season and sit at 3-2 after this one. Patriots have looked good. Of course, now they missed Stephon Gilmore and Cam Newton, trying to bounce back now. And I think they are one of the top teams in the league actually right now when they're healthy. Just the record doesn't show it because of those COVID-19 problems. But that's going to be the team that comes up on top, the one who could handle all these COVID-19 problems. And like we saw, the Titans, they had their problem, but they came up and they're even better than they were before, it seemed. Patriots going to get a win here versus Broncos team. As you said, Drew Lock may play, but no Cortland Sutton, no Von Miller. That could keep it close, but right now, because of that, I have to go to the Patriots.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Yeah, I just don't think Pats will lose this one, especially at home. Jets Dolphins, my New York Jets, fresh off cutting Le'Veon Bell. Surprised he went before Adam Gase. Pretty shocking, but I don't know why Adam Gase is still the coach of this team. And you look ahead to this Jets schedule. I'll give you guys my predictions for their future: loss, 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 loss,
I
loss,
mean, they
loss,
do have a shot versus the
loss,
Chiefs,
loss.
I think.
So
They
their
do.
only two chances, I would say, would be the Dolphins and the Dolphins for the
No,
whole.
no, I'm thinking their only shot is really versus the Chiefs.
The Chiefs, you think they'll pull that one out?
Yeah, I think so.
Well,
That's their only
I think
shot.
it's really impossible. I mean, you look at the schedule: Bills, loss; Pats, loss, 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 loss. So
You don't even have Sam Darnold either right now.
this week, no Sam Darnold exactly. So I don't even think they're gonna. I don't think they have a chance. This is to me a 1-15 ball club. I think they'll maybe pull out that one win at home against the Dolphins in the future. You know, I'll give them that one, but I don't even need to talk about the Jets for like ever now. I mean, I just predicted their whole season practically. Fat loss to this week. Joe Flacco has no clue what he's going to be doing. Frank Gore is now the starting running back once again, which is pretty incredible. Maybe pick up LaMichael Perine, though, guys. I mean, this guy could, I feel like, might have a chance to have a big role in that offense. So he's a guy, if you're in a deeper league or have a free bench spot, maybe stash him and just hope he comes into something for the Jets. But most likely not. The Jets suck. So we're going to get the Dolphins this win here.
Yep. I agree with you. Dolphins there. He's really said everything needed to be said, and that's really it.
Yeah, look for big fantasy games from every single person with a pulse on that Miami Dolphins offense. So, Packers Buccaneers, a very good game. Buccaneers tough loss last week. Really did not have their best game. Chris Godwin is back though, and for the Packers, Devontae Adams is back though. So I'm going to start with you on this one, Mac. What are you thinking here?
I'm going to give this one to the Packers, and honestly, I'd never even considered the Buccaneers in this game. Honestly, no thought came into my head saying that the Buccaneers could have a chance. Packers 4-0. You have Aaron Jones playing like a beast right now. Aaron Rodgers playing like an MVP. You're getting and he was playing like an MVP without Devontae Adams. He still played like that without Devontae Adams, and now with Devontae Adams, just imagine how much better he's going to be. Smith brothers have been playing great the past few weeks. You still have Jair Alexander, Kevin King defensively. The Buccaneers, as you said, they are getting Chris Godwin at back, but kind of just consider it cross out Chris Godwin, cross out Devontae Adams, and you're really left with the team overall. And I think the Packers team overall is better than the Buccaneers right now, especially on that defensive side.
Yeah, you really kind of hit the nail on the head with this one. Yeah, I don't really have too much to say. I like the Bucs. I mean, I think they're a solid team, but the Packers are just such a great team. They're playing so well. I mean, you look at how their games and how much they're winning by. I mean, they beat the Falcons by 2 touchdowns. Closer game with the Saints here. Blew out the Lions and really blew out the Vikings. I mean, you look at the Vikings; they had a ton of garbage time points here. So you can't go against the Packers here. Rodgers looks like he might have found a connection with Tanyan. I mean, that could be exciting for him. So, yeah, I'm going to go with the Packers here for sure. Rams, Niners. This is going to be my one that is chalk for the week, as I've started to say these past few weeks, and that's the Rams. I think the Rams are kind of a lock in this one. I've loved how the Rams are playing right now. Their only loss was a last minute kind of almost, they should have probably won because of some bad pass interference call to the Buffalo Bills. They beat your Dallas Cowboys week 1 when they were healthy. So that's a more respectable close game. Eagles, they blew out. They beat the Giants, didn't play great here, but they blew out the football team. So I love them against the 49ers here, who have been banged up, not looking good. They got blown out by the Miami Dolphins. I mean, what a terrible performance last week. That's incredible to me. They lost to the Eagles, who I think are not a good team. They beat the Giants, whatever. They beat the Jets, whatever. And they lost to the Cardinals. So really, this team has had 0 respectable wins, pretty much. So I'm going to take the Rams here. That's pretty easy for me.
Yeah, I'm taking the Rams by 50. Okay, this is going to be a big win for the Rams. It's not even going to be close, honestly. Like, I could see the 49ers, putting up like 10 points or something, Rams dropping like 35, something like that. I think it's going to be a big win. I don't know. But it's going to be a big gap. Rams are going to blow the absolute crap out of the 49ers this
I
week.
agree here. Chiefs, Bills. I would say this would be a Chiefs lock if it wasn't for last week's performance from the Chiefs. They
Oh
lost
yeah.
to the Oakland Raiders by 8 points. And I mean, it really felt like it was a larger margin than it actually was. It felt like the Raiders kind of had control. A Raiders team that we have kind of been big on for the whole year. And they had that middle patch of losses where they would look tough, looked not great, but to me, this is going to be a really good game. I'm going to take the Chiefs, though. I feel like they're going to get it going once again. They had a really bad defensive performance against the Raiders. Some of those speedy guys like Henry Ruggs kind of gave them a taste of their own medicine there, getting two really big catches for Henry Ruggs for like 50 plus, average 50 plus yards for Henry Ruggs. That's pretty incredible. But the Bills will put up a fight. But after that third Tuesday night performance for them, I cannot pick them. It's just not a good enough performance. I know their defense was injured, but still kind of a short turnaround, somewhat. Not really, actually, but I'll take the Chiefs here.
Yeah, I'll take the Chiefs too. That was just kind of a loss last week. I believe it was the first time in the last 7 to 8 games where they lost to the Raiders. That was just kind of an off week for them. Kind of expected by big teams. Every team's gonna have an off week. It's just a matter of when. Chiefs had theirs early. Bills kind of had theirs too as well last week versus the Titans when they were injured. This week they should be getting some of those injured players back, but even with that, injured players come back. They're not 100% until about maybe like 1, 2, 3 weeks later. So Chiefs still going to get a win here. They did show some concerns last week in their secondary, as you said, with Henry Ruggs, and they weren't even really just they were sitting wide open. They were giving up the contested catches really all game long, and that's a area where Stephon Diggs, a player like Stephon Diggs, could have a lot of success this week. But the Chiefs should be able to come out on top, and then they're going to get a lot more wins, especially with Lev Bell coming in. Probably going to be playing next week.
Yeah, that's. I mean, the rich get richer. It always seems. Lev Bell trying to get that ring, and he went to the team to do it. The Chiefs, who I mean, you thought they wouldn't be able to sign all their guys. They kind of signed all their core guys to big extensions too. So I mean, they keep doing it, and they're doing a great job. Cardinals Cowboys will be our last game. The second game on Monday night. This one for me is a tough one. We got 2-2 and the Cardinals are 3-2. Interesting. Well, they played the Jets. Not really credited. The Niners kind of suck. They lost to the Cardinals. They beat the football team, lost to the Panthers. So kind of an easy schedule so far, and it's really not too bad. They do have a really rough stretch here with the Seahawks, Bills, Seahawks, Bills, Seahawks again, Pats, Rams. That's a rough stretch there, but the Cardinals might be able to squeeze in the playoffs, honestly, with the schedule. But I'm going to give Dallas this W here. They are home. Their defense has obviously been terrible, but I feel like their offense will be able to get it going enough. So I'm going to give them the win here.
Yep. I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's probably going to end up being like a 3-point game for whoever wins. But I am going to go with the Cowboys. I kind of spoke on how I think they're going to change their offense. But even if they don't change it this week, I do think they'd still be able to get a win versus the Cardinals. And I think the key player for this game is that Leighton Vander Esch is back.
Oh,
That's
he
big.
is. That's
And
huge.
we saw that the Cowboys defense, they held up well against the Rams week one when they were all fully healthy. You still have a decent amount of injuries, especially in that secondary right now. But once the defensive players start coming back in the next few weeks, this defense is going to become much improved, bearing there are no more injuries. But Leighton Vander Esch, he is a full go. I believe last week he had a chance to play, but he didn't play. They just want to be safe so he doesn't come back and have a higher risk of being injured. So that was a good move by the Dallas Cowboys. He's gonna have a big role in this defense, and I think that is really going to help this Cowboys defense out a lot just from that one addition. Give me the Cowboys to be a close game though.
No, I agree for sure. And I mean, that kind of does it for our game recap. The only ones we disagreed on, I believe, are the Bears. No, you didn't take the Bears. The football team, the Giants, we disagreed on.
Yep. And
Falcon, no. And the Browns Steelers. So only 2 games. So I mean, the past few weeks kind of agreed a lot here. Looking ahead to next week, there's definitely going to be some good football games here. I mean, I feel like I can decide most. Steelers Titans, good game there. Seahawks Cardinals, always a solid game. So we got some good football coming up. But I mean, anything else you want to touch on, Mac, or you want to wrap this one up?
I'm not sure. I mean, do you maybe want to talk about that real quick? The Bama and the Georgia game that's going to go on later tonight. Two
Yeah,
and
I
three
mean,
team.
looking ahead, two undefeated teams. I believe Bama's ranked 2, Georgia 3, and
Yep.
also the Big Ten coming back next week. So a lot of teams are coming back. Finally going to play. We're going to see Justin Fields finally. Bama, Georgia. I mean, this can go either way for me. I really don't know too much what's going to happen. I honestly, in all honesty, have not been watching too much college football. I've been pretty busy, so I haven't had too much time. But I'll probably tune into that one as well, though. As tonight we do get Game 7 of the ALCS. The Houston Astros trying to make a historic comeback down 3-0 to the Tampa Bay Rays. Only would be the second time. The first time, obviously, the Red Sox did it to the Yankees in '04, I believe. So we'll see what happens with that. So we got baseball tonight. NBA Finals obviously wrapped up. Congrats to the Lakers. They won that.
Sad.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good series, but not a great series. But the Lakers, they got it done. LeBron gets his 4th ring and makes the GOAT debate even more interesting. So congrats to them. But baseball is still going on. We got Game 6 of the NLCS tonight. So that will be when this comes out. We'll have crowned the AL champion, and we'll either be seeing a Game 7 of the NLCS on Sunday night, which would be really interesting. That just makes sports even better for any baseball fans out there. You get to watch Sunday Night Football as well as some Dodgers Braves Game 7. But we'll see if the Dodgers Braves can finish that tonight. We'll see if the Braves can punch their ticket. But that's all I got, Mac. What else? I mean, one thing I will say actually. Another intriguing point in sports, we haven't really talked ever about the UFC, but Conor McGregor is announcing a fight with Dustin Poirier in early January. So I'm excited for that, as well as Khabib Nurmagomedov and Justin Gaethje going at it next Saturday, I believe. So maybe we'll touch on that a little then, because that is a huge fight then. So I'm excited for that, as well as the Conor McGregor fight in early next year, I believe. So some interesting news out of the UFC as well. So overall, sports are booming right now.
Yep.
Even though the world is starting to see some more coronavirus cases spike up. So just a reminder out there to everyone to kind of be safe. The pandemic still exists. Continue to wear your mask, continue to use social distance, continue to be the best citizen and person you can be. So everyone out there can remain safe, and we can enjoy things like football. They've had their scares, but they've been able to pull through and push through with it. So that's pretty incredible that they're doing that. And we'll see. We're getting MLB champion in the coming weeks, and hopefully the NFL season continues going to plan. So that's all I got, Mac. You want to wrap this one up for us?
Yep, I agree. And also a quick little point too, and something that's pretty interesting. You see, we see these Sunday night football games getting more views in the NBA Finals by a lot, by 10 plus million. That's kind of interesting. I don't know if you have anything to talk about there. But that is really interesting to me.
I mean, I think it shows that the NFL reigns supreme, and it just shows. And I also think part of it is the NBA atmosphere is totally different in that bubble. It's just not the same as watching, a competitive series with fans in the stands. I feel like it just really wasn't the same in the bubble. Like, you could watch it and enjoy some good basketball, but it was just different. It didn't feel the same. It didn't have the same feel to it. Also, the matchup in the finals. I mean, I think everyone kind of knew the Lakers would pull it out. The Heat were only winning these really close games. Lakers were blowing them out, and they blew them out in Game 6 too. So not even the best finals. So I think that played a factor in it. But I think the NFL reigns supreme. And in terms of the finals, the matchup wasn't amazing, as well as it just didn't have the same feel, I don't think. So I think that probably plays a reason to the NFL really reigning supreme. But it shows that football is America's sport right now. It's number one for sure. Basketball is probably up there too, though. But I mean, really rough ratings. I mean, who knows what will happen? It'll be interesting maybe to see what the baseball ratings are. I don't know. I feel like World Series always will get some sort of ratings across the country. Generally depends on your area and where you're going. Because I know if the Yankees were in the World Series, it'd be highly watched in New York, where we're both at.
I agree with all your points. Yep, all your points very valid. The NFL is reigning supreme, but yeah, I do think even though you see that huge margin from not even like the Super Bowl compared to the NBA Finals, but Sunday Night Football compared to the NBA Finals.
Yeah, that's crazy. I agree with that.
Yeah, that is pretty crazy. But football is definitely on top right now. But I think basketball is number 2 right now. But we see it. People were kind of wondering how close is it, and right now you see by the viewers it's not close. But in my opinion, it is definitely number 2 right now in the United States. And so with that, I guess I will wrap things up here. This was Mac and Griff for Outside the Arena. Make sure to follow both of us on Instagram. My Instagram is at mac.rummel. Griffin's Instagram is
Griffin Senek.
And then our podcast Instagram is Outside the Arena Podcast. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Let us know what you guys want to see next. Feel free to DM us, reach out to us, to talk sports or anything like that. And next week, we'll be sure to drag someone outside the arena.